In section 1.2, we're going to talk about observational studies and designed experiments. So, of course, we have to do some definitions first. So, we need to talk about some more variable types. An explanatory variable is the variable being manipulated in an experiment or observed in an observational study. To see its effect, and a response variable is the variable being affected by the explanatory variable. And an observational study measures the response variable without influencing the response or explanatory variable. In other words, we observe without attempting to influence the outcome. So, say you are a sociologist and you want to know whether or not a certain section of people gets poorer health care than other people. So you would just go and collect records or visit hospitals and observe without trying to change what's being done. It's like you're the fly on the wall. In a designed experiment, by contrast, individuals are assigned to groups by the researcher, and the researcher intentionally changes the value of the explanatory variable to see the effect on the response variable. So, designed experiments is what we usually do in the physical sciences. So, take a drug study. So, they want to know how effective the drug is and possibly at what dose. So, they would assign patients into different groups. Some groups would get a placebo, which is something that pretends to be a drug but is really harmless, like a sugar cube or something. And other groups might get different doses of the drug. So that would be where the researcher is deliberately changing the value of the explanatory variable, the drug, to see the effect it has on the response variable, which is probably like, do the people get better? So let's look at a couple examples. For each, determine if it's an observational study or a designed experiment. So in the first one, a survey is conducted asking 400 people, do you prefer Coke or Pepsi? So why don't you guys think about that for a minute. Pause the video if you want, and then you can start it when you've made up your mind. So this one, I would say, is an observational study. We aren't changing anything. We aren't trying to see if different levels of something affect things differently. We're just asking, do you prefer Coke or Pepsi? Okay. In B, we have 200 people are asked to perform a taste test in which they drink from 2 randomly placed unmarked cups and asked which drink they prefer. This one is a designed experiment. Because the researchers deliberately changed the value of the explanatory variable, which is the type of drink, and then ask which is preferred. So the explanatory variable is the type of drink, and the response is which one they like better. So in C, let's decide which variables are which. So, is there an association between daily coffee consumption and the occurrence of skin cancer? Researchers asked 93,676 women to disclose their coffee drinking habits and also determined which of the women had non-melanoma skin cancer. The researchers concluded that consumption of 6 or more cups of caffeinated coffee per day was associated with a reduction in non-melanoma skin cancer. So, what are they varying here? And the researcher is not necessarily deliberately varying it, but what are they looking at? They want to see the daily coffee consumption. So in other words, number of cups of coffee per day. And they're getting different answers from different people because different people drink different amounts of coffee. The response variable is what we're seeing if it changes based on coffee consumption. So that would be the occurrence of non-melanoma skin cancers. We will end this video here, and when we come back, we'll start talking about the pros and cons of doing an observational study versus a designed experiment.